higher denomination notes, which as of 2020, CBN hinted that a sum of 58.6 billion naira was used to print 2.52 billion naira notes. The speed of circulation of these notes was very high and consequently gets dirty or faded quickly.
Hello, thank you for joining us. This is Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguele. Remember, this news is broadcast live on our website is nta.ng/live, and all other of our social media handles displayed on the screen right now. Let's begin by telling you that improving on the welfare of officers and men of the Nigerian Army is said to be one of the cardinal objectives of the present administration, as it is poised towards providing not only the state-of-the-art infrastructure, but also to boost the morale of its officers to effectively discharge their duties. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, harped on this during the inauguration of the Regiment Sergeant Major House in Makurdi, Benue State. Moses Ode reports.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, was received by top military officers of the Nigerian Army School of Military Engineering, NASME, Makurdi. He then proceeded to inaugurate the Regiment Sergeant Major RSM House.
By regulating commission, the RSM House.
The Army General, who underscored the significance of the rank of RSM in the military, assured of his determination to continue to improve on the infrastructure of officers and men of the Army across the country.
RSM and the highest office are attained as a soldier in a unit and father of the unit. And when I came on board, I feel that the RSM should be restored to its exalted place. And all I started with is to give him a befitting accommodation so that we can encourage our soldiers when they arrive to aspire to be diligent and committed and hardworking so that they can attain the enviable rank of an RSM.
He commended officers for their resilience in the fight against insurgency in the country. He has since departed to Abuja. In Makurdi, Moses Ajao Udi, NTA News.
The headquarters Sector 2 Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai is investigating two soldiers who over alleged murder of an Islamic cleric Sheikh Goni Gashwa. The Assistant Director, Army Public Relations Headquarters, Sector 2, Captain Kennedy Anyawu, says Operation Hadinkai, the sector, in collaboration with Yobe State Police Command, is carrying out investigation to unravel the identity of the suspected soldiers. At the end of the investigation, the soldiers will be made to face the full wrath of both military and civil laws. This incident is highly regrettable given the sector's disposition and zero tolerance on violation of code of conduct and rules of engagement for troops. Consequently, the sector wishes to commiserate with the family of the victim and the good people of Yobe State and promise that justice would be served accordingly. The Imo State government is deploying non-kinetic approach as a new strategy towards tackling insecurity in parts of the country. Bright Abochuo reports that 146 persons have been inaugurated and charged with the responsibility of promoting peaceful coexistence amongst residents across the state as part of Governor Hope Uzodinma's resolve to tackle insecurity head-on.
Imo is one of the southeast states affected by insecurity. This has resulted in the state government adopting measures to tackle the situation to ensure security of lives and property. The inauguration of these justices of the peace is part of effort by the Imo State government towards tackling insecurity from the grassroots level. The Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Imo State, Cyprian Akolisa, who inaugurated the group on behalf of the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, urges the members to use the powers conferred on them in reaching out to members of their respective communities, especially the youths, with the message of peace and the need to shun all forms of restiveness.
Killing and violence that had taken place in this state, and we call all actors to restrain themselves from killing security personnel and innocent citizens in the state.
Some of the newly appointed peace advocates are sure of their commitment to achieving the vision of the Imo State government in the fight against insecurity.
There is an assignment that we have been given to ensure that there is peace in Imo State and to assist in the administration of justice. I see it as a great responsibility and I'm willing to participate.
I will ensure that I'll keep the peace. I will ensure that in my community, I'll work with the community, with the traditional rulers, with fellow justices of the peace to ensure that we maintain the peace in our community.
With this inauguration, diligence and fairness becomes the watchword. In Owerri, Bright Ibuchi, NTA News.
A comprehensive framework needs to be put in place by the federal government to tackle the multifaceted challenge of crude oil theft and attendant losses to the nation's economy. Guest on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria advocate a carrot and stick approach, noting that sustainable engagement with host communities by all tiers of government can help mitigate crude oil theft. Let's hear more from Lydia Sampson.
Modular refineries are part of the federal government's resolve at deepening community involvement and value addition in oil and gas value chains. Experts note that the supply chain for illegal oil bunkering goes beyond Nigeria and that government's resort to bringing on board modular refineries has ripple effects.
So we need to distinguish criminality from legitimate aspiration for economic value. And that economic value can only come on the table when there's a system, there's a process that is legal and that is legitimate, which is a part of the intervention that we're doing to make sure that the community members appreciate the challenge that is there. Also, the environmental degradation that is happening. Not every member of the community is involved in it, not at all. As a matter of fact, it's a very, very slim and significant minority that are involved with this. We have engagement with the community. We know they are not happy. We know what is happening to their environment. It's almost an accidental situation that they are facing. And we are joining them to make sure that we rid them of the criminals that's in the communities, but at the same time also supporting them to make sure that their livelihood is restored.
Modular refinery concept fits into our psyche. We think in a modular fashion. We think in practical ways in which we can make ends meet. The modular refinery allows you to process on site. And there are examples of modular refineries that have created value within the local communities. People get involved in the oil, petroleum products distribution business. People are employed, skills are developed.
However, challenging is the perception of entitlement of youths in host communities arising from social neglect by tiers of government, which needs to be addressed alongside reported compromise on the part of security operatives and other stakeholders.
There is a total disconnect amongst the entire institutions that should be working for the progress of the country. You can see that the NNPC is not sleeping. The federal government is doing its bit. The point is, what concern? How many meetings have we seen state governors hold with respect to this, when the resources, the environment are in states?
Most of these criminals, this crime that they perpetrate, you won't see those big men in the creeks. Never. They are only the foot soldiers that you see. And most of these guys, they are so hardened in their minds that no matter how you press them for information about who their sponsors are and the rest of that, you don't get to have any information from them.
There are many collusions. We've even arrested security men who are sent there to do the work, colluding, and of course, people from the community who are even investing into this oil theft, because it becomes very lucrative.
The experts say the deployment of technology to track and report Nigeria's crude oil flow by the NNPC Limited and more social investment by subnational entities are also crucial in mitigating crude oil theft in Nigeria. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
The federal government has debunked the news making the rounds on social media that the Nigerian mission in the United Arab Emirates has abandoned some stranded Nigerians in that country and is making it difficult for them to return home. In a statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs says, however, the Nigerian mission and the United Arab Emirates authorities are working to assist more than 300 Nigerians stranded in the country for various reasons, ranging from overstay, lost passports, lack of documentation, especially in the case of infants, to pending cases with the Emirate police. The affected Nigerians are among nationals from other African countries in custody at the holding center of Al-Aware Immigration Office, pending the consideration of their cases and conclusion of the legal processes by the relevant authorities before repatriation. The statement added that the Nigerian mission has been working to collect the details of the stranded Nigerians with a view to issuing emergency travel certificates to those with no means of identification. The United Arab Emirates authorities, on the other hand, will process the immigration papers of those on overstay, who are the majority and are required by law to pay fines of $10,000 per person, which the Emirates government is willing to waive the fines for those who are unable to pay. However, not without the attendant penalty of 10 years ban from the United Arab Emirates. Those in police custody for other alleged offences must be cleared, while those without documentation or means of identification, especially infants, will go through legal procedures for rectification. All right, let's join Michael in Lagos to pick up with the next set of reports. Michael?
Thank you, Ruth. The ban on the use of foreign models and voiceover artists in Nigerian media and advertising space is coming on the heels of the newly established Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria Bill Act 2022. Signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari. This has brought about a change in the name of the regulatory body from Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria (ACON) to Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria (ACON). The upgraded law also provides more robust regulations that will accommodate dynamics in the practice of the advertising profession. Section 1, subsection 2b empowers ACON to control the advertising space in spite of overlapping functions in the industry. The law made provisions for the establishment of a governing council with the inclusion of sectoral group. Joining me live in the studio to discuss the change in the name of the nomenclature is Director General, Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, ACON, formerly known as ACON. You're welcome to the studio, Dr. Olalekan.
Good afternoon.
Fadolapo.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
And I must congratulate you on the change of name.
Thank you very much.
Now, what do you intend to achieve by this change of name?
The change of name is to reflect the true identity of the government agency. It changed from Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria to Advertising Regulatory Agency of Nigeria. As you are aware, in any industry, it's divided into two legs. That's the practice, the profession, and the business of the agency. So we are not an institute. We are a regulatory agency with remit over the practice and the business of advertising. So moving the name from advertiser, changing the name from advertising practitioner to advertising regulatory shows the identity of the agency. Number two is that the Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria law was enacted in 1988, 34 years ago. Between that time and now, so many things have changed. The definition of advertising has changed, the practice of advertising has changed, the business of advertising has changed. So this is more like looking at the entire space and say we need to include what has been missing and how can we empower this agency to make it more relevant in this generation.
Thank you for that. Now, let's talk about the pronouncements banning use of foreign models, voice over T's on Nigerian advertising media. What does the council seek to achieve by this?
Number one, we need to understand that there's no economy that is free. In Nigeria of today, we have over 200 voices. We have over 200 people that are involved in advertising, the advertising community. Now, what we're saying is don't import voice from neighboring country or from the developed country to communicate advertising to Nigerians. Use Nigerians as part of the communication element. So what we're saying now is detaining Nigerian youths that want to opt for advertising either as a voice over, want to opt for either voice over artist as a model. They have a choice. This policy is aimed at developing the local talent in the industry. As you are aware, government effort is aimed at creating jobs. This is part of government efforts aimed at developing local talent, creating jobs, and attracting investment into the industry. We need to look at our industry. We need to develop our industry.
One might be wondering about enforcement. How do you go about enforcing this law against the fact that a similar effort had failed in the past?
I don't know of the similar effort that has failed. Maybe if you mention, but the truth is this: number one, there are ongoing campaigns. So what we say is that if you have an ongoing campaign, we will allow that to serve out its time. But from 1st of October, the advertising standard panel of APON, which is empowered to approve exposure of advertisement, will not approve any advertisement material that has foreign voice or foreign model.
Now, how do you intend to prevent foreigners from being discouraged, from investing in the sector through this your initiative?
I don't think this has anything to do. This is what happens in other markets. For example, if we go to Saudi Arabia, they have rules and regulations. So no matter the global campaign, it must align with their local law. So if you go to Dubai, for example, there are some things you can do no matter the global campaign. There's globalization, there's localization. Localization means that you need to situate your locality within the global context. So if you throw everything away, it will be at the detriment of your own local talent. So what we are saying is that there can be global campaigns. There are some campaigns that are being exposed in Nigeria that are global campaigns, but they need to look for local elements so that the advertisement can resonate with the people. So we cannot continue to in other time. Voice-over artist sector is huge. Nigerian sector is huge. Look at brand ambassador, for example. So what we are saying now is that use our people to communicate to us. Don't blame foreigners. We understand there's globalization, but these are the rules. Speak to us using our people.
I wish you well in your initiative.
Thank you very much.
For a few minutes or thereabouts, we'll be speaking with the Director General of the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, Dr. Lalekon Fadolapo. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Moving forward, 3 persons have been confirmed dead from the impact of a collapsed concrete scaffold on a bungalow in Baigarada area of Lagos State. Adola Komiake visited the scene of the incident and filed this report.
Sunday, August 21, 2022, was a normal day for residents of 26 Adelaya Street, Bariga, Lagos, until the concrete scaffold in another premises collapsed on their own bungalow, killing 2 persons on the spot, while one Kudiat Aziz was rescued.
Nígbà tá wà nínú ilé
We were inside it when the building suddenly collapsed on us. I learned my sister has been taken to the hospital. I don't know where about. News of the death of the third victim trickled in while they were still at the scene of the incident, grappling with a new reality. The 3 deceased persons are said to be members of the same family.
This is because I just see one girl out of the 4 people that inside shouting, help me, help me. So I'm the one that use hand to break all this thing to promote the girl out.
Other residents of the affected building who gave account of how the incident occurred are now lamenting the 7-day ultimatum given to them by government to vacate the endangered structure.
I have to go inside now to go and check out the pillar over there. The deep is not up to 2 feet, and it is on top of this WC over there.
Lagos State Building Control, they have taken the right steps. They have sealed my house. It's unfortunate that we are not the cause of this problem.
In the meantime, a 2-story building that housed the collapsed scaffold has been sealed off by Lagos State Building Control Agency. As at the time of filing this report, the collapsed scaffold has been dismantled by officers of LAPSCA, while owner of a sealed 2-story building was not on ground. He was said to be out of the country. In Lagos, Adeola Kamakeri, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time for some messages, and when we return, Nationwide continues from our Benin Network Center, where Obehi is standing by.
This is to inform all affected broadcast stations whose licenses were revoked and given 24 hours to pay all outstanding license fees that the National Broadcasting Commission has extended its period which all outstanding debts are to be paid from 24 hours to Wednesday, August 23rd, 2022. All affected broadcast stations who fail to defray their debts on or before August 23rd, 2022 are directed to shut down by 12 a.m. on August 24th, 2022. This extension is due to the appeal by the affected broadcast stations, relevant stakeholders, public-spirited individuals and organizations. Thank you. Belari Beshiu Ilela, Director General, Announcer.
Nigeria Gulf Federation announces its first Nigeria Gulf Federation Summit. This summit will discuss salient topical issues that relate to the development and upliftment of Gulf in Nigeria. Chairman General IBM Haruna, Special Guest of Honor, Honorable Minister of Sports, Mr. Sunday Dare, Convener Otumba Olusegun Lushewe, OON, President Nigeria Gulf Federation. Date 31st August to 2nd September 2022. Venue Ladikwali Hall, Sheraton Hotel and Towers, Abuja. Time 10 a.m. prompt. This event is supported by Polaris Bank, Nigerian Television Authority NTA, Africa Independent Television AIT, Gulf Garden, Anchor Insurance and Royal Ceramics. Otumba Olusegun Lushewe, OON, President Nigeria Gulf Federation, Announcer.
Every day in our country, senior citizens are discriminated against, disparaged, and treated with disdain by those who ought to respect them. We are all complicit in the way we have treated the elderly members of our society as institutions, families, or members of a shared society. Every time senior citizens get offered less than they deserve for the work they do because they are old, poor, and desperate, we are failing them. Senior citizen loses a child, and wow, they must be responsible for their death. Every time a senior citizen gets labeled a witch, is called mad, and shooed out of the way because they have no memory of where they were headed and look unkempt, we are failing them. We say, abeg, don't old, make it do die, make everybody for rest. To ailing parents, uncles and aunts. That's discrimination. That is neglect. When you see an old woman getting beat up and being accused of witchcraft, do not turn the other way. Stop and teach people that white hairs, wrinkles, and hunchbacks are no evidence of witchcraft. Aging comes with a memory decline. Sometimes it's not out of place to have elderly people lose their way, forget details of their lives, and how to properly take care of themselves. When they get to this stage, they deserve your empathy, not scorn. Our ailing fathers, mothers, aunties, and uncles are deserving of quality healthcare and peaceful transition. Make their last moments memorable. Senior citizens have paid their dues. They deserve your care. Stop all forms of discrimination against them today.
Hello and welcome to Benin Network Center. Poverty and unemployment have been identified as major factors pushing youths in Edo State into irregular migration and human trafficking. This came to the fore when the zonal commander of NAPTIP in Edo State, Unduka Nwanweni, led officials of the agency on a sensitization campaign in Umude local government area of Edo State. Judabugu reports.
Debt, sexual exploitation, modern slavery, and deportation are some harsh realities usually encountered by victims of human trafficking and illegal migration. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, has been stepping up its sensitization campaign to ensure no Nigerian faces this trauma. However, members of the Iduenye community in Edo State are afraid that unemployment and poverty will continue to mitigate against the efforts of the agency if urgent steps are not taken. With the support of the Oba of Benin, the agency is taking its campaign to rural dwellers who, due to ignorance and poverty, are more susceptible to the antics of human traffickers.
The objectives of this sensitization is to, one, stimulate, facilitate, and encourage productive dialogue and effective sensitization that will equip community members as well as build their capacity to the problems of human trafficking.
With 74 suspected human traffickers arrested, 5 convictions recorded, 58 cases in court, and 102 communities visited for sensitization campaign in the last 1 year. The agency is poised to kick human traffickers out of Edo State. In Benin, Abuja, NTA News.
The role of the media, especially the Nigerian Television Authority, Benin Network Center, in enhancing and promoting the gospel of Christ has been commended. The commendation was given by the Catholic Men's Organization, CMO, in the Catholic Archdiocese of Benin City. Archbishop of the Benin Metropolitan See, Most Reverend Augustine Akubeze, decorated the Zonal Director, NTA Benin Network Center, Pauline Kano, for using the platform to promote peace and national unity, which is in alignment with the tenets of the Christian faith. The report.
The gathering was for men of the Benin Archdiocese as they came with their families and friends to appreciate God for his faithfulness. It was also a day to honor faithful and well-meaning individuals who have supported the works of the Catholic Men Organization in the diocese. They include the Zonal Director, NTA Benin Network Center, Pauline Kano, who received Episcopal Honor Medal Award, and Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu and the wife, who received award for exemplary couple.
We need a lot of pains, in this work of evangelization. So those who can give, let them give. Those who cannot give, let them pray that for God to identify those who can give and make them give.
It's good for people to give what they have. What you have might not necessarily be money. Yeah, if you're in the media, what you have is your pen. It could be your microphone, it could be your camera. And because if you are for television, we are able to amplify the message and make it louder.
Over 200 faithful received the CMO's awards in different categories. In Benin, Ivie Oyahiri, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. Nationwide continues with Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you, Obey. In continuation of the investigation of the Nigerian Integrated Power Projects, the House Committee on Finance has berated the Transmission Company of Nigeria over its inability to give detailed account of power evacuation under the power generation agreement with generating companies. National Assembly correspondent Dayo Ogunshola reports.
It is the second day of hearing and appearing before the Finance Committee to speak on issues surrounding the Nigerian integrated power projects is the team from the Transmission Company of Nigeria. The issue in contention here is the record of power evacuation from Masura, a power generating company, as relates to 450 megawatts of electricity generation agreement.
So I'm asking you, sir, yes, how many megawatts have you taken from Azura? Did you take in 2017?
This one can be taken averagely, sir. If you convert what they have been giving in the monthly basis, it has not been giving us exactly what was signed.
That's all I want, sir.
Yes, there are some justifications for that. Even though their capacity is 450 megawatts, they can be generating 100 now. Maybe there is much demand, then they can increase it to 300.
With inconsistent records from the team, the committee expressed dissatisfaction with the explanations given, insisting that the chief executive officers of TCN and the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission must appear before it on Tuesday for details. From the National Assembly, Dayo Gunshola, NTA News.
A look at health. President Muhammadu Buhari recently inaugurated the Nigeria End Malaria Council with a mandate to implement programs which will translate into 2 trillion naira savings from economic burden of the disease. Consequently, the Federal Ministry of Environment and that of Health are collaborating to achieve this target through mosquito life cycle control and other initiatives to address the challenge from the roots.
Where we want to ensure that mosquito samples are gotten, and then we will try to get them sterilized, so that by the time mosquitoes fly around, they will fly, they will bite, but they will be sterile. So we are also doing some kind of collaboration with certain institutes outside the country to see that we develop a vaccine that is quite effective in malaria treatment and prevention.
Simple actions like keeping our immediate environment clean, ridding our surroundings of refuse and unwanted receptacles, screening out windows and doors, and sleeping inside insecticide-treated bed nets every night will go a long way in curbing the malaria menace, as well as other mosquito-borne diseases.
The ministries expect Nigerians to support the government in this End Malaria campaign through improved personal hygiene and environmental sanitation to eliminate breeding grounds for mosquitoes in homes and the environment. Nasarawa State Government has introduced Rota vaccine as well as sensitized parents and caregivers on its efficacy and the need to protect children against rotavirus diseases. This came to the fore during a stakeholders engagement held in Lafia. Let's hear the details from Jamila Abubakar.
Virus is a contagious virus that causes diarrhea, vomiting, fever and abdominal pain in infants and children ages between 3 to 35 months. The virus, which has existed for over 5 decades, spreads easily among infants and has been misconceived as teething problem. The engagement, which has stakeholders from all sections of the society, was to sensitize them on the causes, signs, symptoms and vaccination against rotavirus, which has retarded growth in many children.
We also have state to play on how we can see the level of our interaction with ecosystem, our environment, that help to better the lives of our children. Of course, the organization in propagating the campaign on this water achieved.
The engagement also hammered on the efficacy of the rotavirus vaccine, which will be a routine for infants from 6 to 14 weeks for them to be fully protected.
Research have shown that most up to 80% of the causes of diarrhea in children of under 5 is caused by rotavirus. So the vaccine is actually very safe and it protects children against rotavirus.
Participants were also updated on the COVID-19 vaccination, which is getting wider acceptability in the state. In Lafia, Jamila Abubakar, NTA News.
Let's turn to other issues. To improve the working culture of the Federal Civil Service and promote better public service delivery, ministries, departments and agencies of government have been mandated to develop and document standard operating procedures in a manual for ease of reference for staff in their respective NTAs. Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, George Akume, while unveiling the standard operating procedure manual for his ministry, says it is a comprehensive guide to help workers carry out their routine operations towards achieving innovation, quality output and uniformity of performance in line with the transformative initiatives of the present administration.
Uphold the wisdom, excellence, and good reputation of the public service, as well as promote the principles of good governance and values of truth, honesty, fairness, and justice.
Henceforth, it is expected that the ministry will start reaping on the many benefits of reading SOP in the workplace and for the need to better digitize our government. But if we need to do this, we need to use these SOPs properly in the workplace. We will need to digitize our systems.
Staff of the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development have been advised to be procedural in carrying out their activities and update themselves with current ICT knowledge to be relevant in the system. Minister of Mines and Steel Development Olamilekon Adegbite gave the advice while launching the standard operating procedure manual in the ministry. The minister appealed to parastatals in the ministry to implement the document in achieving targets in the mining industry.
This SOP is going to make us more efficient, do less and achieve more. That's what this will do for us. We are going e-governments, all that gamut, and this will make our work to be more efficient and more productive.
Because this reform is one of many that have taken place under this government. The standard operating procedure also leads into not just efficiency, but also transparency. And it also at least assists in ensuring that the effectiveness of the ministry in the ministry and all the agencies in the discharge of their duties is of first class.
The head of the Civil Service of the Federation has directed that the SOPs be cascaded down to the parastatals for effective implementation of the Enterprise Content Management Solutions of FC25. It will also guide them in the implementation of laid down government policies for the development of the mining sector.
The status of Kano as the commercial nerve center of northern Nigeria, which also played a strategic role as the largest business hub in the southern Sahara, will soon receive new elevation to become the new shipping destination. This follows the recent declaration of the Dala Dry Port as a port of origin and final destination by the federal government, which awaits official gazetting. Aminu Umar will tell us more about it.
Dala Inland Dry Port, situated on a stretch of 30-hectare land in Gawachiki, Kumbotso local government of Kano State, boasts of state-of-the-art facilities. The modern dry port has additional 100 hectares reserved to accommodate a special economic zone. Its stacking area is 20,000 container capacity, connected to the narrow gauge rail tracks for haulage after transloading from the seaport. Players from Kano and neighboring Niger Republic describe the port as a development that will have direct bearing on the economy of the two countries because of its capacity of promoting cross-country economic activities.
If this new development can help us to bring our cargoes to Kano in 1 day, 1.5 days, I think that's a kudos, or rather, that's a way forward for us.
Nigeria and Niger Republic are twin sisters, so this dry port is executed in Nigeria. However, it was done for us.
The cargo owner or the agent appointed to do the clearance will be here in Kano when the cargo will arrive, and the notice will be given
even before the arrival that the cargo has arrived. And the customs here are not customs that are also too engaged, like you have the customs in some of the ports. They are just there for their leisure for handling export and import.
Dala Inland Dry Port was constructed on public-private partnership on the basis of build, operate and transfer. In Kano, Amin Umar, NTA News.
Coalition of civil society organizations has appealed to relevant authorities saddled with the mandate of security of forest resources to abide by the March 21st, 2022 presidential directive restrictions to activities liable of constituting threats to the nation's security. The coalition was particular about free access for the purchase and sale of donkey, which deprives the country of huge capital loss and employment opportunities along the forest value chain.
Donkey slaughter and exploitation has no doubt become a juicy economic platform that is capable of injecting 60 billion naira into the Nigerian economy by ways of direct investment, and is also capable of getting over 250,000 Nigerians direct and indirect employment. This economy potential of the sector can only be fully harnessed if the sector is well regulated to serve Nigerians' best interest.
The organization says the president's directive is in line with critical security measures taken at both regional and global levels. They also called for immediate action that will strengthen the nation's border lines and secure forest endowment in all fronts. In furtherance of the food sufficiency vision of Akwa Ibom State, the government has trained and given starter packs to boost livestock production in the state. The gesture is in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Evelyn Badu-Ekpo reports.
The capacity development workshop is to further enhance old and new poultry farmers' capabilities in production of quality birds for human consumption and entrepreneurial purposes. The farmers who were trained on effective methods of poultry farming, including choice of species of birds, catering and feeding techniques for maximum yield, promised to put into practice knowledge gained. Mr. Anyefyogundem, a poultry farmer, says the training has widened the scope of poultry farming.
This program has really sharpened me. I have been able to diversify into agric, and I want to say categorically that since yesterday, what we've learned so far has been of tremendous importance to us, and we will use that to promote our poultry farming.
The Akwa Ibom State government, on their part, says it will not relent in its efforts to ensure crop and livestock farmers are supported with inputs to achieve agricultural revolution.
I tell you to make good use of it. Why are you being supported? Because when you are supported with your production will be better, your quantity of produce will be increased, and I expect the state will benefit from it.
We hope they'll be able to raise this, sell it off, make some profit, and then, recoup and put this money back into broiler production.
The event climaxed with a symbolic presentation of starter packs and other inputs to start up poultry farming. In Uyo, Evelyn Badu-Ekpo, NTA News.
More on agric, the Federal Capital Territory Administration has taken steps towards aquaculture diversification, using new fish varieties to help boost not just the nutrition intake, but the livelihood of the populace. Ifeanyi Zumba reports that the Agriculture and Rural Development Secretariat demonstrated this by training fish farmers on the production feeds using local ingredients.
This training is now pushing us to diversify, the ventures of fish farming. Bringing it to to train people and to empower people to create the multiplicity of tilapia along with catfish, and it's a good thing, of which we are happy.
Described by these beneficiaries as apt and a veritable tool of empowerment. The choice of Wape village, Abuja, for the opening ceremony is deliberate, as Mandate Secretary, Agriculture and Rural Development Secretariat, Abubakar Ibrahim, represented, says the training is intended to create awareness on technicalities involved in both household and commercial fish production.
We are optimistic that with the resilience of our fish farmer
which has helped in placing Nigerian on global map. This training will help to minimize cost of production.
Earlier, the Director, Department of Fisheries and Aquaculture, Ifeoma Okeke, revealed that the beneficiaries who had been sensitized on the diversification of aquaculture through the promotion of Owentroma's culture were further being trained on management practices.
The goal of the FCT administration is to bridge this yawning gap between demand and supply and to attain self-sufficiency in fish production.
The training is free and had assorted fisheries and port distributed to 200 beneficiaries selected from registered fish farmers to enable them grow their businesses. Ifeanyi Isumba, NTA News.
All right, let's head to Ibadan to join Kemi. She'll pick up with the next set of reports. Kemi.
Hello and a warm welcome to Ibadan. Developing a sustainable system for the management of forest and forest resources has never been more urgent than it is now. In view of the insecurity, climate change and COVID-19 challenges threatening forest and its attendant impact on human and environmental health. Hence the coming together of stakeholders in the Forest Product Society at a summit to chart the way forward. The conference, which brought together researchers, scientists, and other related areas of specialization, created avenue to discuss recent research findings and obtain feedbacks on collaborations to enhance sustainable forest management.
To brainstorm on solutions to all these problems so that we can come up with specific recommendations.
We regard the forest estates, particularly the forest reserve, the strict nature reserve, the biospheres as our field laboratory.
Ensuring that we reforest, as you cut a tree down, make sure you plant one or two more.
Participants agreed that seeking an holistic approach by strengthening all aspects of social life should be given urgent attention.
We all believe that when we have forests, that is when we can live healthily.
For protection, we have forest guard. They be given the power to be able to match any insurgent that is coming to the forest.
The Forest and Forest Product Society has continued promoting research and information network for all aspects of forestry and forest products since 2008. Ekiti local government has emerged winner of the Kwara Subeb Junior Secondary Schools Interlocal Government Quiz Competition held in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital. This is another effort to boost educational development in the state. Abdulwahid Bibire reports.
Students from Ofa and Ekiti local government areas slug it out at the grand finale of the radio quiz competition, which began 5 months ago. Ekiti local government contingent came top with 26 points ahead of Ofa, which scored 24. The competition, according to Kwara Subeb chairman, Professor Abdurrahim Adaramaja, is part of efforts to raise another set of champions who will represent the state at the global stage.
I appreciate the effort of His Excellency for repositioning our basic education through regular training and retraining of our teachers, introduction of e-learning system for our schools through the establishment of digital literacy centers.
To the students and other stakeholders, the competition provides a viable platform for students of public schools to showcase their talent as they commended government investments in education sector.
The students, their composition, their dedication in reading and everything, it is all okay.
See the students of public school, look at what they are doing. So that shows Abraman is doing what we need in Kwara State.
While Ekiti is going home with 500,000 naira from the governor, Ofa and Ifelodun, who are the first and second runner-up, also won 300,000 and 100,000 naira respectively with other prizes. Abdulwahid Bibire, NTA.
And that's it from Ibadan. Nationwide continues after this break. Do stay with us.
are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Hoping that their educational deprivation is not the end of the world.
Agencies and stakeholders to proactively tackle these challenges.
Women in most countries of the world constitute about 50% of registered voters. Williams, reporting for Dateline 360.
In Jos, Caleb Gochin, Dateline 360.
Dateline
360. Chidi Okrafo.
For Dateline 360.
In Lagos, Michael Olaleye.
Reporting for Dateline 360. I am Omosola Omojola. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome back. Agaye Emirate Council in Niger State has organized a special prayer session to seek for Allah's mercy and putting a permanent end to incessant security challenges bedeviling the country and for its socio-economic turnaround. The annual supplication held at the Emir's Palace, Agaye, attracted dignitaries and Islamic scholars. Fatima Usman reports.
Session was led by Islamic scholars from within and outside Niger State who took turns to recite verses from the glorious Quran and Hadith. They admonished Nigerians, irrespective of religious or political affiliation, to seek for Almighty Allah's mercy with repentant heart. The clerics also stressed the need for attitudinal change among all and sundry.
If there is any time that the country needs this type of gathering, it is now. Now that we are facing so many insecurity challenges, and we will continue praying. Inshallah, we do have the hope. Very soon, some of the challenges will disappear.
The annual prayer session featured prayers for divine intervention to end banditry and other vices in the country, as well as for a successful conduct of 2023 general elections. In Mina, I am Fatima Usman, NTA News.
The election petition tribunal sitting in Oshogbo on the governorship election in Osun State has granted the ex parte motion brought before it by Governor Adegboyega Oyetola and the All Progressives Congress (APC) for a substituted service on the state governor-elect Senator Ademola Adeleke. Governor Adeboyega Oyetola is challenging the outcome of the July 16 governorship election, which the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) declared Senator Adeleke as the winner. Joshua Ogunjide will tell us more.
Sitting by the Osun Election Petition Tribunal commenced at the Osun State High Court, Osogbo, with 2 applications on the 11th of August by the petitioner, Adeboyega Oyetola of the All Progressives Congress (APC). Counsel to the petitioner, Yomi Aliyu, a senior advocate of Nigeria, professed the court an expert motion to bring the application and argue it outside or before the pre-hearing session and substitute service on the second respondent, Governor-elect Ademola Adeleke, based on his inaccessibility when bailiffs attempted to serve the PDP candidate the notice of the petition. Aside pasting and submitting the notice to both the national and state party secretariats of the third defendant, PDP, as well as residents of the second defendant, Ademola Adeleke, counsel to Governor Oyetola prayed the court to allow notice of the court order be pasted on the court notice board.
We came here to get justice, and we know we are definitely going to get that.
Most of what we ask for is there are cases that are self-proven and it's document-based. So we did not envisage a lengthy period of trial.
The second application by the petitioner served the first respondent, INEC, seeking for the inspection of materials used in the conduct of the July 16 governorship election, especially the electronic scan of voters' register and ballot papers. The Justice Teresa Kume-led tribunal granted both expert motion based on substituted service on the second defendant by pasting the notice of the petition on the notice board of the tribunal in Osogbo. Following the substituted service, the second respondent, who is the governor-elect, has 21 days to respond to the petition. In Osogbo, Joshua Ogunjide, NTA News.
Right, sports update is next.
The hope of Nigeria's Falconets to win the 10th FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup in Costa Rica were dashed in the early hours of Monday as they fell 2-0 to the Netherlands in the second quarter-final match. Goals from Zira Horswit in the 11th minute and Ziva Caroline Henry in the 33rd minute sent the Christopher Dajuma-led team packing. Semi-final fixtures paired Netherlands and Spain on Thursday, August 25, while Brazil take on defending champions Japan on Friday, 26th of August. Meanwhile, reactions continue to trade Anthony Joshua's split decision defeat to Alexander Usyk in Saudi Arabia in their world heavyweight title rematch as respondent ponder over the next move for the Nigeria-born boxer.
After these 2 next fights, if it will be possible, then I can decide or can say Joshua it's time to leave. But I still think he still has a lot to offer the heavyweight division.
I feel in a way
All right, I'm afraid that's the much we can give you on Sports Update, and that's nationwide. Thank you very much for your time. Remember, the fight against rape and rapists